Let me know that you got it, Gloria.
Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's some serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Down. It's going down. All right, all right, all right. Happy Monday, girlfriends. Hello, hello, hello. This is Sabrina Goodwin Monday with the Force of Friendship. We got issues. It's Monday. Yes, I'm your motivation. I am your motivation for a Monday. I got the right name, don't I? I got the right name, baby. Monday's made for motivation. I'm excited to be here, feeling real good. Glad to see another Monday. I tell you what, somebody said they had a birthday and they were dreading their birthday. I said, well, you know what? What's the alternative? So get excited about your birthday. And so you guys, we're here. I'm glad to be 9:10 a.m. the Superstation-WFDF, based out of the Detroit, Michigan, the oldest Black radio talk station in the city. So call us at 313-778-7600. We are talking all things Tulsa, Oklahoma, as we approach the 100th commemoration of the dreadful Tulsa Race Massacre. And so as we meet the girlfriends, it's a lot to cover today. We've got some incredible guests. My sister, who is State Representative Regina T. Goodwin, who represents the Greenwood district where it all happened. We grew up on Greenwood as children. I'm from Tulsa. So many of you don't even know that. And so a lot of rich history. We're going to talk all about it. And so we have my sister, and then we have the incredible Elloise Rowland. She is a relative of the man who was accused of assault in the elevator. You guys, when I tell you this is going to be a great show, we have so many lessons to learn, so much education to share. People need to know the story in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we are here to share it. And so I am Sabrina Goodwin Monday. I'm 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We got issues. Caterina Harris Earl, our girl, all the way out on the West Coast. Say hello, people.
Hello to the people. Hello to the people. We had some visitors. I had my niece visiting this weekend, and it was just a blessing to have her here. She came in to see her grandfather. And so it was a really good weekend. Nothing like family, nothing like sitting down and having, that big dining room table be full of family. And so just a blessing, really a blessing. This is such a heavy topic, and I'm really excited to learn more, Sabrina. I've been grateful to get to know real history from you that I was not taught in school, and so I'm really looking forward to getting to know more, and glad we could bring this real issue to the show. We got issues. So I'm passing it to Gloria. How are you? You still holding on to some of your tan from from Colombia?
I am excited. I'm excited to be with you guys. I'm excited for this Monday, and I'm excited about this topic, and I'm excited about this show. You guys, it has been raining in Baltimore all day, but it's been beautiful. It's been absolutely beautiful. And it's absolutely beautiful because my attitude is absolutely beautiful. It has been a jam-packed day. Got up at, 5? 5:15 this morning, 5:15, because I am determined to work out. I am determined to do the stuff that's uncomfortable for me. So this show is going to be one where we're going to learn a lot. And any of you really, really don't you love to know the truth? I love to know the truth. I love to know the truth. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they read. I love to know the truth. And we got some people in here that are willing to tell us the truth. And when you're guided by the truth, you make better decisions. Your life is way better, whether it's ugly truth or pretty truth. It is the truth. And so we're excited to have this show today. I've seen the background. I've been around Sabrina and heard the stories. I've seen the pictures. I've dug even further of stuff I didn't know existed. And so this is all of us. Every single person on this earth has history that others don't know. And there's truths that others don't know, but not everybody has the courage to say the truth or the courage to have the truth. And so I'm excited about this topic, Sabrina. I'm excited about who you brought to bear. And I'm throwing it up to my homegirl from Detroit, Crisette Ellis. What's up, Chris?
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited. We were off for 2 full days. We weren't on Thursday or Friday. And I'm going to tell you, we missed you guys. We hang out every day, Monday through Friday. So we had an extremely long weekend because we weren't on the show. But it's a beautiful day in the D. The sun is out. It's so nice. And I am so excited about this topic today. You guys, this is history. This is real history. We're not talking to history buffs. We're talking to people that literally have relatives that lived it. The stories were passed down. Our very own Sabrina Goodwin Monday is a descendant of Black Wall Street. So this is awesome, you guys, that we will be able to hear something that has affected their family. Not often are you able to hear these kind of stories. We read it from a second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand, and sometimes we don't get an opportunity to hear it from the family. And when you hear it from a family member, it's always different because it's a story that was passed down by a mother, a grandmother. And so I'm excited to lean in and to even learn more about Greenwood and Black Wall Street. You guys, we just really need to pray for our world, especially for our country. The gun violence, when I tell you, I didn't do a lot of television, but, when I turned on and just heard all of the mass shootings that took place this past weekend, Chicago, Youngstown, Indiana, Norfolk, New Jersey, South Carolina. I mean, it was unbelievable. And so that is definitely another hot topic that we absolutely need to talk about at a later date. But again, I am ready for our guests to share with us about the 100-year history of Black Wall Street. I'm passing it back to Sabrina.
Thank you, girlfriends. I tell you, it's a sobering, somber, sad story. It's a real story. I remember growing up and there would be whispers about it and you'd hear murmurs, but we never really knew what was going on as little kids. We would just hear remnants of what was happening. Our grandparents would tell us some history, but we were so young, it was hard to grasp. And so 100 years later, as we move into this week, it was Memorial Day weekend 100 years ago. This coming weekend, that in 1921, a thriving Black neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma was firebombed, leaving hundreds dead. 300 dead, 10,000 homeless, 600 taken into an internment camp, all because of a lie. You guys, and I think about how would we feel right now if everything you had was lost because of the color of your skin, all of your money in the bank, all of your homes, your relatives gone. It's just hard to even imagine, but this is what our relatives, our family members dealt with. And they continue to rise, rebuild, and continue to live on, continue to grow families, to give them hope and joy. I really just marvel at my grandparents, you guys. I just want to bring our guest in. I do get emotional when I talk about this because it is personal. And it's not easy to talk about. And everybody's talking about it. There was a story on 60 Minutes last night. Roland Martin was talking about it today. And it's one thing to talk about it from the outside looking in, but when you live this and this is your family story, it's hard. It's really hard, but still we rise. So I want to bring in my sister, the Honorable State Representative Regina Goodwin. You guys, this show is going to be amazing. Share, because so many people don't know this story. So share this broadcast. Tag people who appreciate history, who need to have an understanding. So Regina, okay, Regina, I don't think she hears us. Regina, you there? Okay. Regina. Okay, Regina, say hello to the people.
She's handling
you guys, she's at the state capitol in the middle of voting, so we're glad that we have her here with us. Say hello to the people, Regina.
Be here. So good to be here on a very, very important, critical topic.
Excellent. Regina, we're going to start, so I need you if you can, okay? We're going to bring our next guest, the amazing Elloise Rowland from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She is a race massacre survivor descendant. Hello, Elloise. How are you? Say hello.
Hello. I'm great. How are you, ladies?
Wonderful. We're so glad to have you on. We got issues, and we do have issues around this topic. Representative Regina Goodwin, we're going to go to you. You represent the Greenwood district. Regina is my baby sister. We're 18 months apart. We grew up on Greenwood. Our grandparents had businesses on the street. Regina, why don't you give history about the Black race, race massacre? Just give some background, and then we'll go to Elloise.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you. This is a really critical issue, and it's a story that we've been living all of our lives. And Elloise can best speak to the story as it relates to Dick Rowland and Sarah Page. I'm going to leave that section for her, being that she's a descendant of the family. But we will say we want to talk about the community. Folks talk about the fictional Wakanda, and they talk about Black excellence and who we are. And there was a real place called Greenwood, and in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in this place, let's understand this just in context, very briefly, that there were Indian tribes that owned Black slaves. And a lot of people don't know that history. And on the Trail of Tears, the Indians were dislocated, and they were forced to move west. They would then have to go and create this Indian territory. And from that, those Black persons that were enslaved would gain their freedom, and they would become freedmen, right? And we've heard the term freedmen. Along with that, they were also granted land. Land was also granted. And because of the land that was granted, once you have land, you can build, right? Once you have land, you can have a sense of ownership. And so about some 3 million acres were owned by Black folks in the Indian territory, 3 million acres of land, right? Wow. And on that land, it just so happened to be some oil. What some not well-intended white folks thought would be not to our good, happened to have some oil gushers. And so you combine land with some folks that had oil, and you had the beginnings of what would become Greenwood. There would be Edward McCabe, who would tell folks, come to this territory. We had about 50 plus Black townships. This was a place where folks would come to get away from racism and oppression. And our great grandfather also got that word that if you come into this area, your children can get beyond a 4th grade education. Right. Come to this area if you want to raise your family. And so a number of Black folks migrated there. There would be O.W. Gurley that would come to this area. He would name it Greenwood. It was a little dusty trail. He gave it the name Greenwood, that street. And he had some 40 acres. He said, once I buy this property, I'm only going to sell to Black folks. He did it because he knew that there were some white folks that were not well-intended that would kill, they would destroy, they would rob. And he said, we're going to be insular, we're going to take care of ourselves, and we're going to create a community, and we're going to blossom. And that is exactly what happened. And out of that community, you had a number of millionaires. You had Black men that owned their own planes and knew how to fly their own planes. You had the Stratford Building, which was a hotel that would rival any hotel in America. You had Mr. Smitherman, who was owner of the Tulsa Star newspaper, and that was the Black newspaper at the time. So you had not only that, but you had folks that were just hardworking folks, like Dick Rowland, folks out to make a living because he could, and he'd shine a shoe like no other. And everybody talked about the money that Dick Rowland made shining shoes. And it is that story of Black folks doing the best they can with what they had that developed Greenwood. And I will leave it there. But our great-grandfather, James Henry Goodwin, was the business manager for the Tulsa Star newspaper in that day. My grandfather would go on to own the Oklahoma Eagle, which was born out of the Tulsa Star being destroyed. And that newspaper, the Oklahoma Eagle, is still today the oldest Black newspaper in Oklahoma. So I will leave you there with thriving, bustling community of Black folks. That was the basically guiding star for anybody in America. And how do you build community? Cooperative economics, doing it together and taking care of each other and defending what was yours.
Oh my goodness, Regina. Yes. Oh my goodness. Talking about a thriving community. We had doctors, lawyers, dentists, educators. We had our own hotels. We had our own hospital. I mean, we had amazing theater. We had it. That dollar turned around over and over again in the same community. Right. Oh my goodness. We were self-reliant. We were self-resilient. We were proud people. We knew how to handle business. My grandfather was the youngest entrepreneur on Black Wall Street. And so you guys, with all of that taken away, you know, the oil made Greenwood rich, one of the wealthiest Black communities in the world, but jealousy made it suffer. Jealousy, just because they didn't like us. They didn't think we should have, and it was destroyed. And so how did it all start? How did the riot start? You guys, I bet most of you don't know, how in the world did it start? Well, we have a relative of a man. He shines shoes, one of the greatest shoe shiners in the world. He made an amazing living. Everybody loved Dick Rowland in Tulsa. And guess what? He took an elevator ride, and there was some shaking in the elevator. This is the story I heard. And a white girl screamed. He was 19, she was 17. She was the elevator operator. And she said she was assaulted. Well, that news ran rampant. The white newspapers all over the city, nab Negro for attacking girl in an elevator. Do this to him. We're gonna lynch him. Lies, lies, lies. Can you talk to us, Elloise? We've got about 3 minutes. You can start it, then we got to go to break, and then we'll come back to you. Tell us about your cousin's story.
Well, good evening, ladies, and thank you so much for allowing me to join you today. The story about Dick Rowland, as many people have heard, was just a lie. You know, and unfortunately, that lie has lived for 100 years. But at the same time, every opportunity that I have to share truth about my family, I take it, and I take it with pleasure, because I know the story as it was passed down to me by my family. And contrary to the story that has been in the media for all these years, Dick never tried to attack Sarah. Dick and Sarah Page were engaged to be married. We're counting down as anyone would if you were madly in love with somebody. Wow. And you know, it's a lot of risk involved because he's Black, she's white. And just counting down the moments till in a couple of weeks, they're going to be able to leave and go to a beautiful oceanside state where they can get married and not have the kind of racial tension and problems that they would experience here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so Dick was a shoeshine boy that worked in a different building. But in that building where he worked so hard, they would not allow him to use the restroom. But the building where Sarah Page was an elevator operator, they did give him permission to come to that building and use the bathroom. So what they would do is they get on the elevator, and when nobody was on there, they sneak kisses. And so I don't know if it was because it was 2 weeks away from their departure date or they was just embraced in a passionate kiss, you know. But when the elevator doors opened, that's what the man saw. He didn't see a black man trying to rape a white woman. No, 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 no. What he saw was a man who was in love with his woman, and he was planting one on her, and he didn't care that the doors had opened up. And so when the doors opened up and that man saw the kiss, he interpreted it as an attack. And Dick ran off in fear for his life because he was being accused of raping her. Sarah tried to tell the man, no, 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 you don't know what you saw. That was not it. But he wouldn't hear it. And by the time he got through telling the story, then she's trying to tell the people that had gathered at the elevator, we're in love, we're going to get married. But she was told no white woman can love or marry a N-word.
Wow. I've never heard
no idea.
Never.
They used to come over our Big Mama Junior's house for Sunday dinners back in the day, because my family was supportive of Dick and what, you know, his endeavors, and they knew it was a struggle. It can be a struggle when you love somebody of your same culture and race, but especially across culture, and especially in the climate in which we lived back in that day.
You made it. You heard it here first, you guys. You are hearing firsthand from the relative. Oh my goodness, we got to go to a break, but we'll be right back. This is The Force of Friendship. We got issues on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation, WFDF. We'll be right back.
Wow, you guys, I am like, my mind is blown. Just on that story alone, my mind is blown. Just we haven't even gotten to the whole story, the history, the bottom line of it. And I tell you, for those of you who are on Facebook with us, I'm so excited that you guys are getting a first-hand look, not only as to what has happened, but also what we can do about what has happened. Even though it was 100 years ago, number one, that was 100 years ago. And we are also very clear that so much is happening today. That's just what is so powerful about this 100-year. It's hard event. It's hard to call it a celebration, but it is an event. And it is a celebration that it is being lifted up in the awareness of people, and the gall that has happened before. You guys, I hate to say it, but it's still happening today. It's happening differently. It's happening underneath the umbrella. It's happening behind the scenes. It's happening in front of our face. It's still very much happening. And so the awareness is important. The education is important. And the activity that we can do leading from here is important. So you guys, this is so important. If you guys call in and lean your voice to this, it really does matter. Even if you just call in and say, thank you for telling the story, or I learned something new. It inspires other people who are listening. It is so easy to lay in the background where you might feel nervous about being on a radio show. That's what we all were nervous about being on. I mean, Elloise may not be the person who wants to come up front, but she's called to do that because her family is here. It is the history. I mean, just that piece of the story tells you so much more. Look at Representative Regina Goodwin. She's in the middle of running a big old vote and got one ear to the phone, one ear to the Facebook, one ear to her assistants and everybody coming in and talking to her so she can do it. That's the life of people who want to make a difference. And that's why we're so excited on We Got Issues, so that we can bring you the things that will make a difference for you, the good things, the hard things, the real things, the truth about it. I mean, it causes us all to look at things very differently. It causes us to all pay attention because it's hard. I was thinking when Sabrina was talking, it's hard not to be angry. It's hard not to become crusty. It's hard not to, look at the person who's across the street who on one side of your mind is like, they didn't have anything to do with it. On the other side of their mind, they don't know what they're doing. It's the look that you get. It's the feeling that we get. We have to be very, very careful in all that we do. I'm listening all the time to what you're, but I want to tell you this. We've got another 35 minutes of the show. And I think you have relatives that need to hear this story. I think you have sisters and brothers and cousins, people you haven't talked to in a long time that need to hear this story. So now would be a great time to continue to share what we have. And here we got issues. So we can make sure that this story is listed up. Because this story.
Okay, we're back. We're back. 9:10 a.m. The Superstation-WFDF. With the force of friendship, we got issues. We're talking Tulsa, Oklahoma, my birthplace. We are talking the 1921 race massacre. It wasn't a riot. Years ago, they used to call it a riot, and we had to make that correction. No, it wasn't a riot. Massacre. I mean, bombs dropped on homes, businesses, just decimated an entire community. 36 city blocks gone within a 24-hour period. 1,200 homes, 300 dead, 10,000 homeless, 6,000 taken into an internment camp, all because of a lie, because they thought we shouldn't have, couldn't have. Representative Regina Goodwin, one of the strongest, most brave women I know. She stands for what's right. She tells the truth. She is unbossed and unbought. We so appreciate the work you do on behalf of our community, Regina. As we go into the week of commemoration, I want to make sure we know it's not a celebration, because in some things, they're talking a celebration. We are not celebrating, we are commemorating. Can you talk about what's going on in the city? What's been planned, how we're commemorating? There's a big buzz. Every news outlet has come upon the city. You have been interviewed by so many media outlets. LeBron James has a documentary. Oprah Winfrey has a documentary. All eyes on Tulsa right now. Tell us how you guys are feeling there. I'll be in town on Thursday. Tell us what it's feeling like and what the city is planning. Wow.
Hughes Van Ellis, he is 100. These are race massacre survivors that God has blessed to see this day. And these are the folks that are telling the truth about what happened and the losses that they suffered. And let me tell you how good God is. Miss Fletcher said to me, perhaps God allowed her to live to be 107 just so she could see this day, just so she could tell folks reparations are due. We still are without justice. And they traveled to Washington, D.C. and testified just this week on a congressional hearing to talk about the loss, to talk about why justice is due. I was privileged to also share and to speak as a descendant as it relates to that congressional hearing. That was the first time they had ever been to Washington, D.C. So those are the names that we uphold. And that is why folks are descending on Tulsa. And if they don't understand that, they need to hurry up and get that in their heads. That is why people are coming to commemorate not only the loss, but the lives still being lived that have yet to see justice. Once we are understanding why we are convening, yes, a number of events are being planned. There's outdoor festivals. There are speakers that are coming into town. There are symposiums. There's going to be, I understand, a mass movement down the street that's going to be led by our 3 survivors. Wow. I understand there's going to be a private reception specifically for our race massacre survivors. And, Vice President Kamala Harris greeted them at the White House just last week. And so we want to give them their flowers now. And we want however we can make them more comfortable, we want them to do so. And I want you to know we're also raising money specifically for the 3 survivors. We're taking donations because I can tell you millions and millions of dollars have been raised. However, the survivors are not getting any of that money, of those millions, right? And so when you see the misery is being monetized and the books and the films and documentaries, but you see 3 survivors that need our help. We got to get our priorities straight. So that's what I'd say.
Wow.
Thank you, Regina. We're talking respect, reparations, reclamations, restitution, restoration. Elloise, what would you like to see happen for your family?
Right. Emmett Till.
Miss Eloise, would you mind unmuting yourself on StreamYard? They still want to hear everything you say.
No,
right?
No, it didn't work.
On the StreamYard, hit the on your computer, hit unmute. Okay,
There you go. Okay, repeat that, Elloise, because it was so powerful. Just repeat that statement, please.
I was saying that, we do have an issue. We have an issue in that this lie was told 100 years ago, and yet the things that have happened to destroy our community has not been, as Representative Goodwin said, there's been no restitution or reparation, nothing. There's hardly acknowledgement. And it's amazing to me that this commemoration committee came to be, but why did it take them 90 plus years? Well, I have a theory. I think that the theory was, if we wait till everybody die, they know the law. They're not ignorant of the law. That says in order to really be successful in a lawsuit, the lawsuit would have had to have been filed within 3 years of the event. Or there needs to be people alive today that committed the crime. Otherwise, don't look for any success. So they waited all this time, we're saying it's a 100-year century celebration. Like you say, you hate to call it celebration because it just is awful. It really, what happened was awful. And when the fact that people will not own up to that, anybody that commits a crime, you can go out there and hit somebody's car. You can throw a rock. A child can be outside playing and hit somebody's car. That is a crime that deserves to be some type of retribution. But yet we lost what would be equal in today's society about $33 million. And nobody wants to step up and really do anything to make that right. I don't want to say nobody. The people that have the power to really make it right. They don't want to do it. They talk out of both sides of their neck. They talk to one gathering this way, and when they go to another congregation, they got something else to say. But if you really believe that we are owed, our survivors, our descendants, we are owed because you robbed us of a legacy that now we still want. But we're having to fight to get what is rightfully ours. Why do we have to fight to get what is rightfully ours? In my mind, it makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that this lie has continued to be a justification for people who want to settle into their white privilege and feel good about themselves and then say to me, well, do you think I need to write you a check? I said, the fact that you would stand in my face and ask me the question, get your checkbook out, get to writing. Because I think it's just ignorance that somebody would have that boldness to say that to somebody else. You do owe us. You owe us. You know you owe us. And let's get it settled and so we can move on for our next generation.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Elloise. We're going to go to the callers. We've got several callers. Thank you for calling. Dolores, Steve, Brian, and John. Thank you for calling in to We Got Issues, 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. Dolores, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I want to thank you for this topic today and for your guests. And I'm talking with my sister today. She and her husband are leaving the end of the week going to Tulsa, and her husband's going to be on the speaker. He's retired fire chief. So it's very important, and so many of us don't know the history or a lot of that happened. But thank you for shining light on it. And thank you to her families and those that have been suffered as a result of this. Thank you again.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for calling in. Thank you. Steve, are you there?
Good evening, ladies. How are you?
We're good.
Well, I mentioned her name, Carolyn Bryant Dunham. Do you any of you know that, recognize that name?
Educate me.
Carolyn Bryant Dunham is the white woman who lied on Emmett Till. Never served one day in jail. Her nephew went on to become the governor of Mississippi. And I'm going to say this, and I'm saying this for Miss Viola Fletcher. As long as we keep singing, keep holding hands, selling spaghetti dinners, we ain't going to never get nothing in America. As long as you don't boycott, put economic sanctions, or resort to violence, because those are the only two languages that the oppressors see. Don't get upset when I say violence, because they've been very violent towards you. I'm simply saying, the oppressor in America, which happens to be a white man, white male species, not all, but that's predominantly, they speak two languages, and that's money and violence. And as long as black folks keep singing, keep holding hands, keep selling spaghetti dinners, Miss Viola Fletcher won't get no peace. So I'm speaking for her. She wouldn't say that because they're from a different ilk, but I'm speaking for her. I'm tired. You live in the blackest city in America, but you have white people come in and give you a bankruptcy, take over your schools, over-assess your property, and we ain't doing nothing. You got a white mayor. We got 600,000 black folks living in the city. About 250,000 are eligible to vote. This white man never got more than 73,000 votes. Black folks are sick. The village is sick. Here we are in 2021, 100 years later, and we're still trying to get peace and reparations for Miss Viola Fletcher. We are the only race that never got repaired in America. Mm-hmm. So stop singing, stop holding hands, stop selling spaghetti dinners, and fight. And if you're afraid to fight, then vote.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid to vote, then don't patronize people who disrespect you. I don't buy mobile gas. You want to know why? And most blacks don't get this. I stopped buying mobile gas when the Exxon Valdez ran ashore in Alaska. They did not pay those people in Alaska, and they waited till all of them to die. The same thing they're doing to us. We got to learn our history. Martin Luther King told us before he died in Memphis. He said, don't buy Coca-Cola. Don't buy Wonder Bread. Don't buy Seal's milk. It's time to redistribute the pay. Now, he said, it's two languages, violence and money. He said, let's go to economic boycott rock. When is the last time you seen Negroes boycott anything? Mm-hmm. And guess what? The perfect storm we got now, you got marijuana dispensaries and you got stimulus money, and now you can bet on your cell phone. Negroes are gonna die.
Yeah. I got you, Steve. We really thank you for calling in. Your voice is valuable. We feel your pain. We live it every day. Representative Regina, would you like to respond to Steve before we take our next caller?
To Steve, I'd like to say that his voice is the voice that we hear every day. I think Steve might understand that he has 6 women right now that he's looking at, and there's not one person that is afraid. There's not one person that does not understand what we've endured. And to Steve, first of all, we applaud you for being so passionate. I'd also like to say that as we talk about, absolutely, his points are correct. Violence and money are 2 languages that most folks understand. Having said that, and the reality is this, that I don't think that we can shoot our way out of this. I don't think we can cut our way out of this. If that had been the case, I think that would have been done. I think that, and I hope Steve, I would like Steve to respond to that, because I want to walk that all the way through. Let's see, what does that look like, right? So we bomb them, then they bomb us, and then we cut them, then they cut us. And when it's all said and done, right, we have the same carnage that we had in the massacre. And so we've experienced that, Steve. Quite frankly, we lived through not seeing some 35 square blocks of property. We've lived through folks not knowing where their daddies are because they were shot to death. We've lived through A.C. Jackson, who was the foremost surgeon in America. They say the foremost Black surgeon. We'll say one of the foremost historians, surgeons. And we saw him get shot and gunned down, right? So, Steve, your points are valid, but to the extent that we can kill and shoot our way out of this, I would ask you to walk through that and walk with us, because there's nobody on here that doesn't have the courage. There's nobody on here that does not want to see justice done. But we are getting folks registered. We are going to congressional hearings in Washington, D.C. We've been fighting this battle for quite a while, Steve. We appreciate you. We want to walk with you, but understand I'm not tearing anybody down. I'm not going to point fingers at anybody that I know that's trying to do right. We're in it together, Steve. We're on the same side. That's all I can say to you.
First of all, I don't want any of young ladies to get offended. We do need to stop playing church. We need to take that same power, that chicken dinner lines, and march for real this time too. I'm gonna tell you what my problem is with my people. Accepting, always want the white man to accept us, and they need to recognize us. Now we want some more money. The last guest, and I don't mean no harm. About 3 things came out about money, check, money, this. No. Power is not given, it's taken. Listen to what I'm going to say it again. Power is not given, it's taken. Anything that white devil did, he's taking it. Any country, anywhere he goes, he steals and takes. Now, back to us. Our problem is ours. When do we stop playing that game? It's not reparations. Why we keep begging that white man for something that he took? You're asking somebody to help you out that puts you in the condition that he's in. So in other words, at my age, I know damn well it ain't going to change. And as far as living next door to them, yeah, right. This black president, vice president you got, I know there's something about my black women on 910. You guys thought y'all came to it because you got a vice president that's black. Nothing's going to change. And if anybody really studied history, and this is definitely to you religious folks, you know this is God's work. You know this is how his people are supposed to end up. Why do you think he look out for fools and babies? Okay? And I'm going to be a fool in the end. But let me tell you something. I don't want to have a part of nothing that these black people that's helping them, the enablers. Y'all will not touch on the people. We need to do the names that's killing Detroit first. I'm tired of talking about other cities and countries. Detroit is getting ready to get stole. I am right now looking at about 30% of the black youth that was in Detroit that is in villages and all these places in Novi and Farmington Hills. I keep saying it. They're gentrifying y'all out of there. They got me and Darnell Smalls out of there, and his sister wouldn't even talk about him on the radio. And you guys talk about power and we own control. Once it comes to another black that's got to tell on another black, you're scared. But guess what? It's not over until you guys get out that church field and get them rakes, shovels, and take it back. Power is not given, damn it, it's taken. They do a good job of it. We like to pray and pass the chicken and tell mama who did something in church and he was right and he didn't do this and that. In other words, these are their laws put on us, and we're so stupid that every time we keep saying what they won't let us do, think about it. They don't care.
Brian, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Can I respond to that? Very briefly. Can I just very, very, or does anybody else want to respond? I'll do that. Does anybody else want to respond?
Go ahead, Regina.
Go for it, Regina.
I was just going to say that I think to Brian that I don't come from that place where you either have to believe God or not. I believe that you can pray, and I believe that you can also have a tremendous amount of fight. And I think that's how God would have it. We are to be fierce folks. we are to stand up for justice as God stands for justice. So I don't think it's either one or the other. And I also would like to say to this brother, we commend you. We applaud you for your fight. But again, if it was about killing and destroying and maiming, I think this thing would have been over a long time ago. So if that were the solution, it would have already been done. So I think we can speak to those issues, but the reality of it is walk me through what that looks like, step by step. Show me what that looks like. And usually I cannot get to the end of that conversation, okay? So I appreciate the passion. And I think that a lot of well-intended folks, brave folks on both ends of this argument, and we just got to keep working together, y'all. We got to keep fighting together.
We do.
Ain't nobody scared. Let's be clear.
Yeah. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep believing. We have to have hope. We've got to believe that the change is coming. I really want to go to the phone lines one more time. Thank you for that, Representative Regina Goodwin. We've got Drea and then Teresa. Drea, thank you for calling. We got issues with the force of friendship.
Hello. First, I want to say thank you, ladies, for bringing this issue. Yes, we do have issues, but fight does not always mean to be violent and be physical. Fight can be spiritual and mental as well. The march with the unity of our brothers and sisters. We need to unite our own selves first before we can ask anybody to unite us. We need to stop killing ourselves before we can ask anybody to stop killing us. So I do want to say thank you, ladies, for bringing this issue up and letting us know what our history was and letting us know the truth and not what the history books teach us.
Yeah, and we thank you for calling, Dre. And unfortunately, this was not taught in the history books. Right. This is another issue. They hide what the real history is. And so we do have to keep telling the story. We don't get tired of telling the story. If we don't tell the story, we don't know the story. We don't know how to go about to fix the story. So, Drea, one of our most loyal tribe members, thank you for calling in. Thank you. Let's go to the phones, you guys. Our time is moving fast. We got a lot more to cover. Teresa, how are you?
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. And I just want to agree with the gentleman who talked some time ago about not so much with the fighting and all, but there's one thing for sure that we as a nation should do. We should have a committee to go to Washington and let them know that we want a certain date set for reparations. And we should have as one option is that we are going to have a national boycott. And when we do those things, I do believe that something will happen other than just studying it and doing research there in Washington on reparations. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for your thoughts.
Years they've gone to Washington, D.C., many years.
Right.
This is not just something brand new. It really isn't. Regina, you can speak to that. Then I got to go to the girlfriends, Caterina, Gloria, Crisette. What questions do you have? What thoughts? But Regina, can you talk about this?
Yes. Very quickly in Washington, D.C., you had John Conyers, who's been talking about reparations, H.R. 40, for some 32 years. And absolutely right. There are generations that have come and gone. And so we do, this is true. It's on our hearts and it's on our minds, and we're not just talking about it. I think very good points in terms of how do we affect folks in terms of economics. I think those are very good points.
Excellent.
Sabrina, super fast question. I have a super fast question. There's not enough time in this show. This could be a whole week show.
Right.
Where can we go
Part 1, part 2,
more, and where can we go to read? What can we watch? What can we read other than what you mentioned, but the things that are taking place in Tulsa this week? How can we learn more about this so we can understand the history so we know how to fight?
Yeah. Okay. So there is a commission report that was in 2001. It's a 200-page report. At that time, it was dubbed the Tulsa Race Riot Commission Report, and that is the place to start, right? And I know 200 pages is a lot, but Mary Parrish in 1921 has a smaller book called The Events of the Tulsa Disaster. Events of the Tulsa Disaster by Mary Parrish. And she gives eyewitness accounts. And that again, a Black woman's perspective, who had a small 5 or 6 year old daughter by her side as she was dodging bullets to capture this story. And so there are a number of books that are written that are out. There are going to be a number of documentaries coming out right now. National Geographic has a documentary, and there's going to be a documentary on the OWN network. There's going to be a documentary on CNN and on PBS. There was a Going Back to T-Town, which was done in 1996 documentary. So you can hear, I love that one because you can actually hear from some of the generation before us, those that actually experienced the race massacre. So a number of places where you can get information, and we just encourage you to do so. Be critical thinkers and examine what you're reading. There's a lot of material coming out now that you really need to check because it's not accurate. Folks are making money. They're hurrying up and getting stuff out there. And so that's what I say to that.
Wow. You know, I wanted to ask you guys.
You're muted, Gloria.
Oh, Lord. I wanted to ask this question, and Regina started saying, and Eloise, when you talked, what are some of the other major untruths that are there that we're going to only hear from you guys? Like, what else is major out there that's not being revealed? You know, what is like one or two of the major untruths? Because when I saw the hearings and was listening to the woman read what she had written, I just was so blown away. But are there some other things that we can bring to bear that are just blatant untruths?
Well, one thing I want to say is that I recently found out is that at the time that the massacre, all that was building and the mob had gathered outside the jail, Dick Rowland wasn't even inside, and they knew that.
Wow.
All of this could have been averted. Wow. That's a bombshell I haven't dropped previously to now, but we're coming into this final week of the anniversary, or the, I don't know what to call it, but the events. And he was not even in that jail when they were gathered out there with the anger and the tension and all of that. He wasn't inside. He had been moved, and they could have simply told that to the mob and dismissed them. Now, whether they would have believed it, I don't know, but someone recently sent me a newspaper story about that event.
Recently?
And it just, he wasn't even inside that jail. They're out there waiting to string him up, break in and string him up. Brother on a bus to Nebraska.
Eloise, I have a question, and let me thank you and Representative Regina Goodwin again for joining us on We Got Issues today. When I tell you I'm leaning in, and I literally could talk to you guys for hours because this is such rich history. But I have a couple of questions. My first question is, whatever happened to Sarah Page? Do we know what happened to her?
Now, a couple of years back, I was in Oklahoma City, and this lady was there from the East Coast. We were at an event, and she pulled me to, somebody introduced me to her. Unfortunately, I did not. I was so shocked by what she said. My brain just quit working, and I have yet to go back to dig up the information. But this is what she said. She was searching for information to validate that Dick and Sarah Page had gotten married on the East Coast, and that there was a marriage certificate. They had been able to certify that was his signature on the marriage certificate. So, but I have yet to been able to validate that. Okay. But what I was told is that they reconnected and they left Tulsa, and they ended up getting married. We were always told it was they went to the West Coast, but she said it was in Connecticut.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know, as we're thinking about Black Wall Street and Representative Regina, maybe this is something that you could answer. You know, you want to find hope. Do you think that we could ever have another Black Wall Street? Is it possible? I mean, when I see the pictures and I hear the stories of the entrepreneurs and, you know, know that they had 2 airports and there were 6 Black entrepreneurs that own their own plane, and you think about the wealth and you think about, you know, just how powerful it would have been to grow up in a neighborhood where everybody that looked like you was doing something positive, was making money, making their own way. Is that possible today?
I would say that, of course, it's possible, right? A number of factors have to come together. And you have to have what they had, first of all, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was a singular mindset. They came to this area to build. Everybody understood. J.H. Goodwin got the call. If you come in here, you got to be about something. We're going to be doing this in unison. We are here specifically to build for ourselves. And so I love that they had the right mindset. So yeah, you get the folks with the right mindset, and all the rest can come, right? And so that's very important. I also think you asked about, let's understand this too, y'all. Greenwood, let's be clear. Greenwood was also an everyday place. We had folks that were just making it. We had folks in small homes, shotgun homes. We had folks that were domestic workers. We had folks that were taking out the garbage, right? But it's those garbage collectors, right, that help make our cities great. And so whatever the tasks were, we had folks in all walks of life. And understand this, you had the underbelly. You had folks that were running the numbers. You had folks that were running liquor here and there. And my uncle said it best. You had heroin on one end and the Holy Ghost on the other. So understand, Greenwood was a community of folks, right? And so it wasn't all the well-to-do and those that were successful. Right. It was those folks that was making it any way they knew how. But it was a community. And I think we also have to tell that side of the Greenwood story. We called it Deep Greenwood. Sabrina knows all about Deep Greenwood.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Some of my best mentors, my greatest teachers came from Deep Greenwood, baby. They were the hustlers. They were the righteous. They were those who had pride and poise and charisma. Oh my goodness. It was great to grow up on Greenwood. Yes, yes, yes. Well, you guys, we've got about 2 more minutes. Last thoughts. Anybody have a last question or a last thought? Representative Regina or Elloise?
I'm going to yield to Miss Elloise.
Well, I am just grateful to have this opportunity because I think the more that we tell the story, anytime something has been hidden for so long, then once it's finally discovered, it's like a great treasure. And the more that we share and the more that we get the information out there, it dispels the lies and it makes the lies a little bit weaker. And so I think that we're at a prime opportunity. No, I don't think we'll get to go back and redo Black Wall Street as it was, because I was thinking about that earlier. There's really no place to put businesses on, the way they've done it. But if we can find ways to get our people strategically in place, I'm not saying quit doing the chicken dinners. Maybe the chicken dinners will be a diversion. They think we caught up in that. But while we're doing that, let's get more people like Representative Regina Goodwin in place, because that's where the real situation is going to change. Until we get enough people that look like us in positions of power, honey, on that hill and on every capital throughout this United States, we have to have a seat at the table. Now, to me, that's real reparations, where we have the real opportunity to exercise our real rights, where we can put our minds together and develop plans that will change the outcome. We can't go another generation, like we have over the past 3. We have to implement true change. And the way we're going to do that, we got to get our people in position where they have when they have that committee meeting, wherever it is, they can have input, and then they bring that bill out to the floor and they vote. As long as we're not voting in the U.S. Senate or the state Senate and houses of representatives, honey, we gonna still be waiting for other people to make decisions about us. We no longer have to wait for other people to make decisions about us because we already know what the decision needs to be.
That's it. That's it. What a great show. Enlightening, empowering, educational. Eloise Rowland, thank you so very much. Representative Regina Goodwin, thank you so much. It's been real. 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We got issues with the force of friendship. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Ciao.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Eloise and Regina,
so
stay
much,
on
ladies.
for the after show. Hold on for 5 minutes. Okay, we're off the radio. And so now we'll stay on Facebook. Hold on. Okay. Thank you, Jen.
That was amazing. That was beyond amazing. Wow.
Okay, unmute your computers. Can you hear me, Eloise?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, Eloise, Regina, you there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Regina, I think you can hang up the phone now. Regina, you can hang up the phone.
Okay.
Yep. I know we got a lot of moving parts. You guys were amazing. Thank you so much.
So good. That was so courageous. Yes. So educational. They just absolutely loved it.
Can we
Yes,
just
so we
talk
took about
about
2 or 3 minutes and talk to our live Facebook audience. You guys, with any last words? We thank you so much for your time. We know you're crazy busy. I know Regina is running from one interview to the next interview. Tulsa is the hot spot right now. All eyes on Tulsa.
Right.
And so, Regina and Eloise, how have you prepared for this weekend? For this week, how have you prepared?
I don't think you can get prepared. Like I got a call coming in now because I told them this would be over at 6, so we got another deal. You can't really get prepared. I'll call. Wait, hold on, just 1 second. Just 1 second.
Okay. Regina, you can go. Regina, you can go.
Regina.
Right.
she prepared?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it is like that. It is so much going on. I've never had so many lights and cameras in my face and I'm about to be 67 years old in another month.
Wow.
People, seeking us out for the information. Somebody heard something and then they say, well, can I give them your number? Yeah. So then they call. But my question when I met with NBC Universal a couple of weeks ago was, I just want to see what the progression will be after the lights and camera are gone.
Right.
And it has to, if they're not going to continue to do something, then don't seek us out for this momentary of glory. It's just wasted, but what is it going to be like once this is over, once we get into July, the focus is shifted somewhere else. And it's like, I tell people, I am radical. My name means mighty warrior. I don't have no problem coming to the table with a fight, but don't call me to a fight if after the emotions die down, we're not going to do nothing but just go back to our respective places. Right. Call me to the fight when you really got a plan and we can really take something and move it from one step to the next and keep it going like Representative Regina was saying earlier. But when we walk that out, what the people were saying, what is that going to look like? Right. We're going to be exhausted. We're going to be tired. We're going to be depressed. We're going to have anxiety. Why? Because that's all emotional stuff. We have to be smarter than that because we came from people that were innovators, inventors, creators. Anytime a man can lay down in the grass and look up in the sky and talk to God and create what we now know today as Washington, D.C., come on now. Right. We come from good stock.
That's right. We do. We do. Long hair.
Has there been a movie? I know we're not just looking to Hollywood, but one of the ways the world finds out about things is through movies. Right. Has there been a very accurate movie, or is it?
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can.
We need to write it.
Wow. Yeah. And there have been the problem is no one wants to write it just with the personalities that existed because of legal wranglings and how they can make money. It's easier for them to use fictional characters because they don't have to deal with the family members. They don't have to deal with the family members giving them approval, right? So they fictionalize it and create characters, and from Oprah Winfrey on to the next person, it's the same story. So I have not seen that definitive movie that would be a blockbuster, truly, if somebody would just tell the story as it is, with the characters as they were.
I can't even imagine how strong that would be. I just can't even imagine how strong it would be.
Don't y'all feel that we ought to do that?
Let's do it, Elloise. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Ain't that the truth?
That's right. That's
You
right.
know what,
You know,
Elloise?
Wilma Mankiller said one time at a meeting, she said, as the Cherokee people, they were always looking for whoever was supposed to come and help them or rescue them or whatever. She said, and then they finally figured out they was the ones they was looking for.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are the ones that we're looking for, the ones that have the voice, the mindset, the power to get things done. And we I don't know. I know of Sabrina, I know Regina, the rest of you ladies I'm just meeting tonight, but I dare say this is not an equal opportunity situation where across the board you wouldn't be queens on this platform if you wasn't already coming packing with treasure. But to be able to come together, I don't know how to go about it, but girl, I can write. Now I'm a pretty good writer, but, and as you can see, I don't have no shortage on words. But, yeah, if we can get it done, I'm working on a book that just kind of tells more about our family and the whole thing with Dick, how he came to be in our family and everything like that. But
can you speak to that?
I'd rather do this.
Eloise, just give them a bit of who Dick Rowland was and Jimmy Jones, and explain that just a bit of how your family came to raise him.
Now,
Okay,
Dick
Richie, we got about 3 minutes. We got about 3 minutes.
Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute version.
We would love to hear that.
Dick was adopted by my cousin Damie. Now, this is another bombshell I didn't drop a while ago. On the low, he supposedly was already a family member.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
So he's family twice. Okay,
you know how we did back in the day? Somebody couldn't handle it, and so another family member stepped in to raise that child. I'm still waiting on that information so I can verify that, but that's what I was told recently, is that he was already part of our family before he was adopted by my cousin.
Got it.
Okay.
Stories, baby, the real stories.
Listen, that's why you got to listen to We Got Issues. We drop it. We drop the news.
Amen.
Right. Somebody said, why was the interracial relationship kept secret for so long? And how does the family feel about that? But I think we addressed that. That was 1921.
Right.
So
they had to sneak. Out in public, they sneak, but he brought her over to my grandmother Julia house for Sunday dinner. Sunday dinners at Big Mama's house. That's what they did in that day. And so she was welcomed into our family. And my family understood, though. My dad and them would tell him, don't be stupid. Don't get so caught up, don't be stupid. Because anytime they would have been seen out in public is an opportunity for him to be killed. Yes. So he had to be smart about it. And I don't know why that particular day on the elevator, that's just in my own imagination, is that they were so caught up in that kiss. And when the elevator door opened, because why would he be raping a woman he's already engaged to?
Right.
And then if he had raped her or tried to attack her, they would have strung him up. They wouldn't have just cared about putting him on a bus to Nebraska.
And two people verified, the Tribune writer, the editor, the managing editor, said they had printed the wrong story. When a white man admits that he didn't put the right thing in the newspaper soon after the incident, and also law enforcement said he had not attacked or torn her shirt like they had first said. When you got white folks,
you didn't have no scratches on her face.
Very quickly, telling the truth, there were some very influential white folks and some very influential black folks that said, y'all not doing nothing to Dick Rowland. And Sarah Page was vouching for her man. That's how
she was.
But think about it. How else could that? So for the viewer that asked, why weren't they open about it? Because one, it was segregation, it was illegal, and black folks could be killed and hung just for looking at a white woman.
Exactly.
To a white woman. So that is why they kept it a secret.
Wow. So many bombshells, Elloise. And you gave it to us. We got issues. Thank you.
We from Greenwood. We know what Charlie said. You dropped a bomb on me.
That's right.
Baby.
That's it. Got banned, baby.
Right. All things.
Well, Elloise, I hope to see you this weekend while I'm in town.
Yeah,
I know lots going on, but I can't wait to meet you. Sister Regina, you always do us proud. Thank you for making time for us. It's been a great show. It's been a great show.
I love you all. So, you know, I love you. I love all y'all for the moon back. Hey,
All right. Thank you,
Yes.
Facebook family. Thank you, Pride.
Eloise, you are on the right track. You're among some of the most powerful